The Institute for Faith and Freedom at Grove City College presents Liberty Mail with the Student Fellows of Faith and Freedom.
Welcome back to Liberty Mail. I'm Katie Kenline, and we are recording this podcast live at the Institute for Faith and Freedom's annual conference at Grove City College. I'm very excited. We have a special guest that popped into this studio. Ralf Augstroze is the Chief Operating Officer, Executive Producer at Heroic Pictures, and he is the producer on the new film coming out, The American Miracle. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Katie, for having me.
Yes. Well, tell us about, so some of you will have now seen the interview we did with Michael Medved about the books that he wrote that kind of led to this. Where do you find yourself in this story of creating this movie?
Well, there are three executive producers, my colleagues, Tim Mahoney, who also directed the movie, and Doug Maddox. The three of us are career filmmakers. We came together about 3 years ago to form a new motion picture studio called Heroic Pictures.
That's wonderful.
And the idea being to make motion pictures about real heroes. We're probably not going to make movies about what the culture would like us to think are heroes, but real heroes. In this case, for American Miracle, the main hero in the story is George Washington. But Tim Mahoney had worked with Michael Medved previously on a project, and as soon as Michael learned that we had formed a new studio, Heroic Pictures, especially with that name, he came to us and asked if we would turn his 2016 bestseller into a motion picture, which he had financial people who were interested in seeing the story come to life on the screen. So that's how we got started, and 3 years later, we have a major motion picture.
That's awesome. And it's good to hear how quickly, I mean, I mentioned this earlier too, almost this movie is about God's hand on American history, but there has to be some province as well in the creation of this movie, because many listeners might remember talking to Dr. Kengor. Took over 20 years to create that Reagan movie. It can be so difficult. Did you come against any challenges, or it sounds like there's some really exciting doors that were opened as you filmed?
They really were. There were a couple folks who were big fans of Michael who wanted to see this film made. So that process, that part of it went very quickly.
That's great.
What could have been really a major obstacle was all the logistics, because we shot for, I think, over 30 days.
Okay.
Not consecutively, but essentially over a 3-month period, we shot for 30 days. And we have battle scenes in there with live fire and with musket fire and with cannons and stunt coordinators, and we have horses and our armorers and horse wranglers and makeup and everything that goes along with it. The very first day we shot was at Fort Frederick, Maryland. We had over 200 cast and crew on set in the woods, at a distance from any civilization, and the temperature was in the 90s.
Wow.
And the actors are wearing wool uniforms.
Oh.
So, and plus, live fire, armorers, horses, all of that. So our trial by fire was really the first day. And providentially, without a single hitch.
Wow.
Without a single hitch. We didn't even have to deal with rain when we shot exteriors, practically for the entire production.
Wow.
So this was a providential production.
Oh, that's so great. What are some of your what were the favorite things that you got to include in this film?
You know, one of the most awe-inspiring moments was we did a long scene of the Constitutional Convention.
Oh, wow.
And the various conflicts that arose with that because of slavery and because of the convention almost falling apart and all that. And that really did need to be shot inside something that was almost identical to the assembly room at Independence Hall.
Yes.
Now, I've filmed inside Independence Hall before, and they were going to let us film again. But the problem is we needed to film for 3 or 4 days straight because it's a complicated scene and there are a lot of camera angles and a lot of things going on. At Independence Hall in Philadelphia, we would have had to close the set every time when they let the public in. They would not, a national park will not close for a film production to the public. So we would have had to strike every morning, allow the public to come in without realizing anything had happened there during the night, and then at night have to set up again, complete with props and all that, and light the windows so that it looks like it's daylight when in reality it's night. The cast and the crew would have had to sleep during the day and film during the night. It would have been just a mess. Providentially, we found an exact replica of Independence Hall in Houston. At Houston Christian University, which used to be Houston Baptist University,
Okay.
they have an exact replica of Independence Hall, complete with the first floor looking exactly like it does in Philadelphia, with the assembly room, the original Supreme Court chamber. There's only one difference in the building between the original. The tower is 1 foot higher because everything has to be bigger in Texas.
That's really funny. That's who would have thought that existed? I've never heard of that before.
Again, it was a miracle how we found out about it, and they were thrilled to let us film there.
Wow.
We shot there for 3 days straight. We essentially took the facility over for 3 days. We were able to light it and do props and set everything up. And experts can't tell the difference between that set in Houston and the original in Philadelphia. So it worked out wonderfully.
Wow, that's wonderful. And so for people who I'm sure this is really exciting for our audience. Could you tell us about, this is not a documentary, it's an actual feature film that is just incredible storytelling, but could you tell us more about what they can expect?
Well, originally it was going to be a fully narrative dramatic motion picture.
Okay.
But Michael came back to us and he said, a lot of these stories are so incredible, completely true, primary source research, completely true, but so incredible that people just won't believe it.
Huh.
And he said, you know what, why don't we put some scholars in there to lend some credence to some of these dramatic reenactments? And that's how we got to work with Paul Kengor, who's one of the scholars who's in the movie. Joseph Ellis, Pulitzer Prize in History, one of America's most beloved history storytellers and New York Times bestselling authors. Akil Amar, top constitutional scholar, Sterling Professor of Law at Yale.
Wow.
Professor Robbie George from the Madison program at Princeton University. This is the caliber of people who we put in simply to back up what is seen on screen. So I kind of coined a new word for this. It's not a docudrama, it's a drama doc.
Perfect.
Because it's about 75 to 80% drama and about 20% documentary.
Okay, wow, that's really exciting, and I'm can't wait to. I'm sure there'll be so much learning to be had when people go to the theaters. Could you tell us about when is this coming out? Where will people be able to see it? Where they can find information? Okay,
it's going to be in a limited release on June 8th, 9th, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Okay.
June 9th, 10th, and 11th. Over 1,000 theaters across the country, nationwide, most major motion picture theaters, and people can get information on where those theaters will be at AmericanMiracleMovie.com. It's being released by Fathom Entertainment, and if there are a lot of ticket sales on those 3 days, they will extend us, and we ideally love to be extended through the 4th of July.
Oh, absolutely. That'd be wonderful. And the website is really exciting. I've been on there. You can find all kinds of just information. Dr. Kengor has a little video on there talking. There's all kinds of almost a know before you go type just resources. You can get prepared now to go to the theater, but it's all really exciting.
And there will be more resources there available as time goes on.
No, that's wonderful. Well, is there anything else you'd like to leave with our audience other than go see the movie?
Yeah, definitely go see the movie. I think especially also audiences will enjoy the music. We have a Hollywood composer who I've known for many years, Lolita Ritmanis, who composed the score, 90 minutes of new music.
Wow.
We recorded it with a symphony orchestra and chorus in Europe last fall. It's a beautiful soundtrack. It's a beautiful movie. We hope everyone in the country will come out, especially in anticipation of our 250th anniversary next year.
Yes, well, it's perfect timing. And that sounds incredible about the music. I can't wait for that also. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Katie, for having me.
Thank you.
For more information on Liberty Mail or the Institute for Faith and Freedom, visit faithandfreedom.com.